You know that person, the one at the dinner table who has an opinion about everything, who interrupts, who speaks with absolute certainty about politics, health, relationships, the economy, as if they've personally solved each one. And you sit there thinking, how can they be so sure? Here's the uncomfortable truth. They're sure because they don't know enough to be uncertain. There is a pattern in human knowledge that nobody teaches you in school. It goes like this. When you know a little about something, you feel like an expert. When you know a lot about something, you realize how little you know. And when you know a great deal, you become quiet. 2,500 years ago, a man in Athens understood this better than anyone. His name was Socrates. And the thing he is most famous for saying is this: I know that I know nothing. He wasn't being modest. He wasn't performing humility. He meant it. And for saying it, they killed him. Because nothing is more threatening to a society built on certainty than a man who asks, "Are you sure?" The loudest voice. We live in a culture that rewards certainty. Think about it. Who gets the most attention? The person with the strongest opinion, the loudest take, the most confident prediction. Nuance doesn't go viral. Doubt doesn't get followers. The phrase, "I don't know," doesn't make anyone famous. And so we perform knowing. We absorb opinions from podcasts, headlines, and social media, and we repackage them as our own. We don't research. We don't sit with complexity. We pick a side and defend it as if our identity depends on it, because in many ways it does. Certainty feels like ground beneath your feet, like safety, like knowing who you are and where you stand. But it's not ground, it's a shell. The same kind of shell we talked about in the narcissism video. Rigid, protective, and ultimately a prison. Because inside that shell of certainty, nothing new can enter. No new idea, no new perspective, no growth, no surprise. Certainty is the mind's way of saying, I'm done learning. And the moment you're done learning, you start dying. Intellectually, emotionally, spiritually. The flashlight in the dark room. Let me give you an image that I find genuinely humbling. Imagine everything that humanity knows, all of science, all of philosophy, all of art, all of medicine, all of history, as a flashlight, a single beam of light. Now imagine the room you're standing in. The room is everything that exists, everything that could be known, every question, every mystery, every dimension of reality. The room is infinite. The flashlight shows you maybe a meter in front of your face. And here's the part that really matters. You don't just not know what's in the dark. You don't even know how big the room is. There are 3 kinds of not knowing, and understanding them changes everything. The first is what you know. This is tiny, much smaller than you think. It's the little circle of light. The second is what you know you don't know. This is bigger. It's the edge of the light, where you can see that darkness exists. You know there are questions you can't answer. That's honest. That's healthy. The third, and this is the one that should keep you humble for the rest of your life, is what you don't know you don't know. This is the vast, immeasurable darkness beyond the edge of the light. Questions you've never even thought to ask. Dimensions of reality you can't conceive of. Blind spots so fundamental that you don't know they're blind spots. Every generation in human history was absolutely certain about things that turned out to be completely wrong. The earth is flat. Illness is caused by bad air. The atom is the smallest thing. Women can't think rationally. The universe is static. They didn't know they were wrong. They were as certain as you are right now about the things you believe. So the question is not, what do you know? The question is, what are you certain about right now that will look absurd in 100 years? You don't know, and that's the point. The wise ones. So if the loudest people are the least wise, who are the wisest? I've met a few in my life, and they all share the same quality. It's not intelligence. It's not education. It's not eloquence. It's comfort with not knowing. The Zen teacher Shunryu Suzuki said, "In the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities. In the expert's mind, there are few." Think about that. The more expert you become, the fewer possibilities you see. Your knowledge becomes a filter that blocks out everything that doesn't fit. And slowly, without noticing, you become blind to what you don't already believe. The wisest people I've known weren't professors or gurus. They were a grandmother who listened more than she spoke, a healer who said, "I don't know," more often than any doctor I've met, a friend who asked better questions than anyone and answered almost none of them. Wisdom doesn't look like having answers. It looks like having peace with the questions. The Tao Te Ching puts it perfectly. Those who know do not speak. Those who speak do not know. Not because speaking is bad, but because real knowing is humble. It doesn't need to announce itself. It doesn't need to be right. It is content to sit quietly and let the world reveal itself. The freedom of not knowing. So what do you actually gain when you let go of certainty? The first thing you gain is curiosity, real curiosity, not the kind that Googles an answer and moves on, the kind that sits with the question and lets it change you. When you don't need to be right, you become genuinely interested in what other people think, not to debate them, not to correct them, but to understand them. And that kind of listening without an agenda, is one of the rarest and most beautiful things one human being can offer another. The second thing you gain is relationships, real ones, because most arguments between people are not really about the topic. They're about being right. And the need to be right is just the need to be safe, to have ground beneath your feet, to know where you stand. But when you let go of that need, when you can sit across from someone and say, "I might be wrong about this. Tell me how you see it," something extraordinary happens. The war ends, and a conversation begins. And the third thing, and this is the one I want to leave you with, is peace. There is a peace that comes from having all the answers, but it's fragile. Every new piece of information threatens it. Every different perspective attacks it. You spend your life defending a castle that was built on sand. And then there is a peace that comes from not needing all the answers, from being comfortable in the dark room, from holding the flashlight without demanding that it illuminate everything. That peace is unshakable, because nothing can take it from you. No argument, no evidence, no contradiction. You're not defending a position. You're resting in openness. And that, I think, is what wisdom actually is. Not knowing more, but needing to know less. So here's the lesson nobody taught you about knowing. The clever ones know that they don't know. The not-so-smart ones think they know it all. And somewhere between those two, in the quiet, humble, curious space of genuine not knowing is where the best of human life happens. The best conversations, the deepest relationships, the most honest work, the truest healing. All of it begins with 3 words that our culture has taught us to be ashamed of. I don't know. Those 3 words are not a confession of failure. They are the beginning of everything real. So the next time you're at that dinner table and the loudest person is holding court and everyone is performing certainty, remember, the wisest person in the room is the one who is still listening, still wondering, still open to being completely, beautifully wrong. And that person might just be you. I don't know if this video changed anything for you, but I know it made me think while making it. And maybe that's enough. This is part of a series called Lessons Nobody Taught You. Each video is a chapter of a bigger story about the things we were never told but always needed to hear. If you're curious about the next one, and curiosity is the whole point, it's waiting.